Hello. I've been offline for a few days because I'm at my late mother's house sorting through her effects. The echo you can hear, which you probably will still hear even if I try fiddling about with the sound afterwards, is the sound of my voice bouncing off the walls of a nearly empty house with no curtains or carpets. What a job, and I regard the colossal mess she's left me to clear up as her final joke at my expense. Occasionally I've been sorely tempted to reenact the reaction of Leon in Blade Runner when he was asked to tell the psychologist about his mother. Well, in my case, it's not a matter of not having a mother. She was a terrible mother, jealous, vicious, violent, very intelligent, but emotionally an infant. However, her photographs are still there on the Welsh dresser because, for better or worse, she made me what I am. Her willful ignorance made me determined to educate myself. Her bullying made me think carefully about my own parenting. Her social conventionality made me determined to be more open to ideas. Her cowardice made me determined to be determined. I was going to say she blighted my life, but the fact is that if she hadn't knocked me about, told me I was a waste of time and space and that I was too ugly and stupid to be lovable, and in the end pushed me out of the house to make my own way, I'm sure I wouldn't be sitting here recording this because I wouldn't be the person you see in front of you. What would have happened to me if she'd been a better mother? Loving, nurturing, helpful, I suppose. I would have stayed back in my small town, ended up married to a nice local boy, probably not gone to university, certainly wouldn't have travelled the world. I would have been someone else altogether. And that's my point. People are the sum of their memories, whether welcome and warm or not. Every time I felt like hitting one of my own kids, a feeling with which any parent probably has some sympathy, I remembered thinking, as my mother was wailing tar out of me, at the time though that was quite acceptable for parents, but even while I was on the receiving end I was thinking, this isn't the right way to go about things, and when I brought up my own children I tried a different way. I might not have thought about it like that, if not for my early experience. Also, watching her willful ignorance, I worked out that the worst, the most dangerous, the most destructive thing you can do is deliberately to blind yourself to experience, which is what my mother did all the time. And so I keep her photographs because I don't want to forget. I mustn't forget. So, USA today, UK tomorrow. In Trafalgar Square stands at great height a statue of Horatio Nelson, and there are people who've been speaking up about taking the statue down because Nelson defended the slave trade. I'm well prepared to believe that he did. It wasn't unusual for his time, and he wasn't unusual in that regard, but as a military commander he was unusual. And it was because he was unusual that we in Britain still speak English and not French, eat bacon and eggs washed down with tea for breakfast instead of croissant and jam washed down with coffee, and don't drive on the bloody wrong side of the road. I'm sure you'll all agree that this marks us out as the superior culture. God damn it, Nelson stays. Most of us will know someone who's lost their memory. People who lose their memories become disoriented, weak, and because they're unable to make decisions based on prior experience, easily manipulated. Not having memories is the worst curse of humanity. Western civilization went through 800 years of dark ages because a series of disasters caused us to lose our collective memory, and it took us all that time to crawl back into the light. And when I hear of people who want to pull down statues and monuments, I think of my mother and the dishonest picture of her on the Welsh dresser, looking serene and utterly beautiful and angelic in her wedding dress. Even though she turned out to be a terrifying bully, she was also very, very beautiful. And it is worthwhile remembering that there are two sides to everything. Except for a CNN broadcast, of course.